Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Faith? I'm going to have to edit that out then, the beginning of it. Yeah, I'm using a new... Okay, great. Yeah, I'm using a new... actually, I've used it one time before, the frame, what's called a scene inside of this Streamlabs OBS software. And it doesn't work so good with the white there. You can't see where it says tech support and Coach Steve Money so well. But I'm going to change it to put my email, add my email address. Excuse me, and the donations link as well. So nobody heard what I said about those two before. The two items that came before. But okay, so to go back, start from the beginning on this one. Gosh. Okay, well, actually, I'll let me say who I am again. I am live from Columbus, OH, and this is Tech Support with Coach Steve Money. And here what I do, as you can see, I'm on the Tech Support subreddit on Reddit, which is r/Tech Support. If you want to go straight to it, it's reddit.com, like it is up here, /r/Tech Support, and then I usually sort by new, and that's how you can get here. But I do tech support and computer repair, and that is my full-time job, my #1 job. But also I am a certified Ramsey Solutions financial coach and Ramsey preferred financial coach, and you can schedule a free consultation assessment either by going to the link at the top of the chat, which is ramseycoach.com/Coach Steve Money, or you can email me coachstevemoney@gmail.com. And if you have any questions about the consultations, about scheduling it, about anything else on my channel, any questions in general. All right. So thanks for dropping by there, Faith. I appreciate it. Otherwise, I wouldn't have noticed that there was no mic on there. And so I was a little rushed trying to get it started because it took me a little longer to get home. And then I had to hook my computer back up because I took it so that I could, because I was supposed to get AT&T internet installed in my new apartment today. But that fell through as well. But anyway, back to tech support stuff. Recently built a gaming PC and it won't boot unless I boot override it. The SSD boot option is in the boot priority, but every time I power on my PC, it shows me the press F1 to setup screen. Otherwise, my PC works just fine. Okay, so it's in the boot priority, but every time you power on this, it says press F1 to set up. That is not Windows. That is your BIOS, and the BIOS is the software that runs the motherboard. And so what you need to do is press F1 to do that setup, and then you go to the boot priority, and if you see the SSD in there, then that should be fine. But a lot of times it needs to be, if you have Windows 10 on there, it needs to be the Windows Boot Manager that is what you boot to, not specifically the SSD. So you could try making that one first as well to see if that fixes your problem. But then what you also may be doing is leaving the BIOS without saving it. So when you quit the BIOS, there's like often an option to restart and save, to save and restart, or to just discard and restart. And if you're exiting without saving what you've just changed, it may not save that. So and that may, or there may be some, maybe you didn't set the time right or whatever. The only other option that may be is if you're losing settings maybe every time. It could be that your battery on the motherboard, which is basically just like a watch battery, maybe that's bad. So especially if once you get it on, the time is wrong on there, that may be it. So if the time and date are wrong in Windows, or if when you press F1 and then the time on the motherboard, on the BIOS screen is wrong, then that could be an option there. Yeah, but it may be that you're booting, trying to boot to the SSD instead of the Windows boot manager, and that could be it. All right, let's go back to another one. Sim internet problem. These days my internet's kind of tricky. It always prompts me to turn off my mobile data off and on so I may connect again. I don't know anything about this. Some phones hardware OPPO85S. We don't do phones, so I don't know this much about it anyway. So let's see. 100% disk on any minor task. I run into this quite a bit. About 4 months ago, noticed disk is constantly at 100% when opening anything and playing games. I looked inside my PC and there's a cord that looks unplugged. I have an image but can't paste it in here. Okay, the cord that's unplugged is not going to have anything to do with the disk being constantly at 100%. And if you're seeing all your hard drives and if all your fans are spinning and everything else is working fine, that cord that looks unplugged, it could just be an extra cord maybe for you to put in a different hard drive and so forth. This problem happens a bunch. Even if you do have an SSD, it can happen, but a lot of times it happens on the older spinning drives. And if you have an older spinning drive, I suggest going to an SSD if you can. If your computer is new enough that if you're going to keep it for several more years, you can make it seem almost like a new computer by it's not gonna increase your graphics capabilities, or it's not gonna give you more RAM, but it will boot faster and it will overall be faster if it doesn't have to access the spinning disk drive. And what an SSD is, solid state drive is what it stands for, and that's basically the memory is built onto the circuit board, just like a flash drive. That's basically what it is. A flash drive with bigger capacity is basically what a solid state drive is, and so you may want to upgrade to that. But some things that can make it go to 100% disk usage is if it's in the middle of doing a Windows update. So if you think you might need a Windows update, go into Windows Update and force it. You can make it do an update and make sure you get all the updates, and you may have to restart a few times and make sure it says you don't have any updates happening. Another thing it could be is you downloaded some adware or something like that, or it could be a completely legitimate program that doesn't need to be in startup. So what you can do is hit Control-Alt-Delete. I don't think it'll show it if I do this because I'm just capturing the browser window here. But you hit Control-Alt-Delete and it'll say starting security options, I think, or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it says. And then at the bottom of it, it'll say start task manager, geez. Or you can just type down in the lower left in the search box, you can type in task manager and then you can click on it. That's how you can start it too. Either way, whichever way you want to do it. And then if you see a small box that just shows you a couple, it's just a small box with a couple things in it. At the bottom, hit see more. I think it says see more, and then that will expand it, and then you will see a bunch of different tabs up at the top, and you'll see that it's showing you which you can sort between the tabs to see like the highest CPU usage, the highest memory usage, the highest disk usage. The disk usage one, as far as the percentages, you can add them all up and it won't be as much to get 100%, so I don't know what the deal is with that. But anyway, what you want to do to try to figure out what's making you go to 100% disk usage is click on Startup, the Startup tab. And what you want to do is disable everything except antivirus. And that one I would leave for last, and I would disconnect to the internet if you do want to try to disable that from startup. And it may still start up anyway, depending on the what it's put in the registry. It may still, but you can try that if you want to make sure the antivirus isn't the problem, because there have been some that were energy hogs, usage hogs, and like an update sometimes breaks any software. So I would try that one last though. Absolutely last. So at first try, and you may be looking through there and you're like, oh, but I use whatever, Discord, I use that every day, or something else that you use every day. You don't need it to start when Windows starts. If you click it, it will still start up. You don't need it to start up, because then a small portion of it is running in memory every single time. And so say you don't use Discord a whole day, you have part of it loaded in memory, and so it's making your computer slower. So disable everything and reboot and see if you still get the 100% usage. And then if you want to if that takes care of it, and you want to put something back into startup, if you want to say, well, I really like it when it starts up by itself, put them one or two at a time back in there, and then reboot and see if you get the 100% usage again. So, but that's the deal on that. But yeah, if you're keeping the computer for, I'd say if you're sure you're going to keep it for 2 years or so, again, it's not going to give you a faster processor. It's not going to give you extra RAM. It's not going to give you extended graphics capability to play the hot new games. It's not going to do that. You have to have those separately already. So don't go buy, oh, I add an SSD and then I'll be fine. But it will make what you're doing much, much faster. So I do recommend that. And you can get from Micro Center, you can get for like $100, $110 or something like that. You can get a 100 terabyte house brand SSD, solid state drive from Micro Center for that. So they're not that expensive. So again, depends on how, you could also put that $100 towards a new computer instead. And so if you're going to be replacing it in a year, I wouldn't bother. If you're going to keep it at least 2 years, you might want to think about it. All right. Hey, well, look at this. Somebody else typed in this. Replace your hard drive with a new SSD. So, and yeah, that's the easiest thing. That's not telling. I mean, and that's what we do sometimes in tech support or computer repair. We take care of the problem without figuring out what the actual cause of the problem is. And a lot of times this would take care of it is because the general advice when you replace your hard drive with a new SSD is not to clone it so that you get any existing problems. You should do a fresh install on it, which if it was something that is installed on it and doesn't get reinstalled on it on the new fresh install of Windows, then you're not going to have that problem. So that's common with tech support. Diet Coke, sponsor me, please. If I learn how to show the label correctly, right? All right. Is Windows.old file safe to delete? Okay. When you upgrade your edition of Windows, sometimes when it even goes from, even if it's like Windows 10 and there's a big update, it will put the old stuff into Windows.old. And if you've had it working fine for months, then you do not need the Windows.old folder. So you can, taking up 35 gigs of memory, right? Because it's the whole thing. It's basically the entire Windows. And let's see if Windows should automatically delete it after 1 month. Okay. Yes, just keep in mind that reverting back to this previous installation will no longer be possible once that folder is deleted. Yes, those are good things to say there in addition to what I said. All right. accidentally uninstalled 7-zip using Windows File Manager. Well, that's not uninstalling it, that's just deleting the files. And so when you just delete the files, you are not removing all of the registry items in there. And I can't show you, need to figure out how to show you like what if I can do instead of I think I can do a screen capture with the software. I'll have to check it out so it can show you what I'm doing with my computer in addition to just this browser window. But yeah, if you go into if you just open File Manager and delete the 7-zip, in this case, folder, that just gets rid of that one folder. There could be another folder elsewhere on the hard drive. There could be, for example, there could be for particular settings. There could be something in the Documents folder. There could be something in the hidden user data. Is it user data? I think. Let me check on mine, even though you won't be able to see it. Let's see what it's called. See, users, i5, app data. So it's your users. You open the C drive, users, whatever your username is, and then app data. And it's possible and then it goes local, low, and roaming folders. And then within one of those folders, there could also be the name of whatever program you just delete the other files for. So when you do an uninstall through, you hit the Windows, the start, what used to be the start button, which now is the Windows icon in the lower left. You click that and you click settings and then apps and then uninstall it, and that's how you want to get rid of it. Sometimes an easy way of fixing that, if you accidentally do that, you can download it again and reinstall it on top of itself, basically. Not the folder you deleted, obviously, but the other stuff it'll just install it on top of those, and then you can uninstall it, and then it'll take it all off of there. That's sometimes an easy way. Computer blue screen of death is what BSOD stands for, and that means it turns off. How much time have we done here? 8:17. Okay. People link their PC specs with PC Part Picker. Person had the PC since 2018. Started having an issue in 2020. Well, that's been too long. Living with that is 2021 now. Almost the end of it. Well, not almost, but close. Joy would think it would be the end of it. August is almost the end of the month, end of the year. And I was playing games fine until one day. Well, and this is the greatest thing. This is the greatest thing about being in computer repair or tech support, is that everybody says, everybody says it was working fine until it wasn't. Well, obviously, otherwise you would have had a problem before that. So that's just one of the funny things. Anyway, every client says that though. I was playing games fine until one day I played World of Warcraft. I spent way too many hours in that, so I understand that, and it crashed my PC. Blue screen of death, WHEA, Windows, I think hierarchical or something like that. I can't remember what the E stands for, and the A is architecture, is what that WEHA stands for. Uncorrectable error. I ran World of Warcraft in DirectX 11 and had no issue. Okay, so first thing I would think it would be the video card. Now, since it's if it works fine with the DirectX 11 and not with 12, I guess is what you were probably using before. Eventually, every game started crashing on the computer. Removed my card and had 0 issues. So I got my card RMA'd. I'm assuming he's talking about, or she, girls can own computers. Whoa, I clicked on the wrong thing. Let me go back. Oh yeah, I forgot I could open up new windows on there if I want to. Let's see. I just click on the thing and then it go, okay. Got card RMA'd. I had a smooth month with my new card and then the crashes happened again. Okay, so assuming this is his video card, and immediately that took care of the problem for a month. And then it happened again, so he wiped his M.2 solid state drive with a fresh install, and so that's going to fix problems if it's a Windows issue. Worked for a bit, but now it doesn't even launch Windows. I removed and so that would point to another issue then, other than the card. And replacing the card, you could have multiple issues here, and this is one of the cases where it gets tricky. So the card fixing it for 1 month means that the card was bad, and so these could also be non-linked problems, unless it says the exact same error message. It normally has an error code, and you can check that in the event log. Let's see, wiped it, works for it now, it doesn't. Used SSD with okay, so he removed the M2 SSD and used it as regular. I assume he's thinking of SATA SSD with a fresh install. My computer was fine after the fresh install, but once I turned it off for the night, the following morning had a series of crashes. I can load Windows, but I crash when I log in within 15 minutes. Remove one stick, swap them, reinstall both, same issue. Try them one at a time. When he says he removed one RAM stick, hopefully you tried them one at a time. You tried both of them instead of just removing the one, because the problem with that could be the stick, or it could be the slot you're putting it in could be broken. Yep, remove the graphics card and ran off integrated. Computer still randomly shuts off. So that has nothing to do with the video card then. I don't see any blown capacitors or char marks, doesn't matter. Haven't removed the CPU yet. Plan on heading over to a friend's place to test his power supply unit. It's 8 years old, but I think it's fine to test. Yeah, as long as it's the right kind. 8 years old, it may be not the right type for your motherboard. Most likely it will be. Just make sure it has enough of the power, the main power cord, main power cable from the PSU to the motherboard. Make sure that's the right number of teeth in it, connections in it. And also, if your motherboard has 4 for the power connection that the CPU power, which normally is close to the CPU, that could be an 8 connection or a 4 connection. If you're just using the integrated video, should be fine for you to just put even if you have 8 on the motherboard, if you just plug a 4 into the side that it fits into, that should be fine to test that. So yeah, and it could be your power supply. It could absolutely, and your power supply could have damaged your video card, and it could have damaged the SSD. I mean, there's anything is possible here. The problem could just be the PSU, like if it is keeping enough power to keep the computer on, but then it goes down below a certain level where the video card wouldn't work correctly. That's possible that it would give that, but yeah, you just, when you have so many things wrong there, it's hard to tell. Let's see what anybody else came up with. Could you check the mini dump for the dump files? Yeah, and that's what also would be in the event logs. But yeah, nobody else has responded to that person yet. So, but that's basically the dealio with that. Those are very difficult to figure out. All right. My solid state drive doesn't show up when I plug it into my hard disk drive enclosure. Bought this SSD for dirt cheap as it was marked as faulty. And I figured it was probably some formatting issue that would be an easy fix, but alas, it wasn't. Tried to find the SSD listed in this PC section so I can perform a format, but it wasn't there. So you opened up, whenever we opened up disk management or third-party ones, the SSD either causes them to crash or unresponsive. You got a bad SSD. And I get it. You wanted to get something cheap, and yeah, the device itself is just faulty beyond repair. Yeah, there's not fixing an SSD because there's no like parts on it. It's all one part. It's just memory built onto a circuit board, and so there's not repairing it. So please let me know what methods I can use to salvage and get this drive working again. Thanks in advance. Yeah, so I mean, people always want to, they have a hard time thinking about it. They're too emotionally attached to it to think like if it was somebody else's, it would easier come to mind that, oh, well, it said it was faulty, so it's just faulty. You know, and you didn't get a deal. You got taken for whatever money you paid for it. And so, but yeah, people don't ever want to think that something's bad, you know, on their computer usually, especially if they installed it themselves, etc., etc. So, but that yeah. So if it's not being seen, he put it could also be the hard disk drive enclosure that he's talking about is probably, it might be something like an M2 to SATA adapter in that as well, and those adapters are, a lot of them are really made poorly, and that could be the only problem. That happens a lot, in fact, where the problem is just the I would assume lately, I'm trying to think back, we've had probably about just as many of those go bad lately as hard drives. The SSD will fail tons of times less than the old spinning drive used to fail, and so but those the adapters, especially if you got a non-name brand, I mean, some of them can be fine. I've used several with no problems, but the adapter inside that hard disk drive enclosure, what he's calling it, is, I mean, that's basically just a box, and in it lets you plug in your in this case he's putting a solid state drive in there, which I'm assuming again is a M2 adapter, or it could just be a SATA to USB. That could be it as well. Could just be the SATA drive, in which case he could put you could put not only the SSD in there, but you could also, the solid state drive, but you could also put an older spinning drive as long as it has the SATA connection on it, which is the one where the power supply is about that big, and the data cable is about that wide. So that could be it as well. But tons of those have been bad for us, and that's been the problem lately, more than drives themselves going bad. And that's also a result of more people going to the solid state drive, as opposed to the old spinny drive. Nobody said anything else about that. All right, what time is it? 8:30. I'll do one or two more. Features breaking after having my PC turned on for more than a few minutes. I'll go ahead and go to the full post there. I've had my PC with Windows 10 for around a year and recently I've been getting some weird issues when I have my PC turned on for about an hour. So far I've gotten several different issues, such as the Windows snapshot feature not doing anything when I click the command, the keyboard media controls doing nothing when I click on the buttons, the volume ones work, just not the switching songs, etc., and the Windows search feature doing nothing when I click on it. I was just testing it out and nothing happens when I click on the Windows start button, Cortana, and my files as well. Usually I can use all these features when I first turn my PC on and for a few minutes after that, but when one by one they go away. Probably more broken features that I haven't realized yet since I don't use them. Also, sometimes these features are broken from the second I turn on my PC, causing me to have to restart it instantly. Thanks for the help. Alright, nobody has responded to that one, despite that one being up for an hour. That's a long time for nobody to have responded. So one thing you can do, since they work immediately, but something normally what I would do in any case would be to test the hard drive first, because there's no need to it's a waste of time to try to fix Windows on a broken hard drive, because you can't, because whatever's broken, even if you it's a corrupted Windows system file, if you fix it, if it's a bad hard drive, it's going to get, or even an SSD, it's going to get corrupted again. But what you can do is type in SFC, that's S as in Steve, F as in financial, and C as in coach. So SFC space / scan now. And what that does is, you may have to do, I think you have to run that elevated command prompt. So in your, do this immediately before it becomes unresponsive. You would, in the search box in the taskbar on the lower left, by default, type in CMD and it'll pop up. And then you would look on the right side and there's the option to run as administrator, and that's what you want to do. And so when the command prompt box pop up, that's a DOS box, and when that pops up, you type in the SFC space / scan now, and then it will check all your system files and let you know if there are any corrupted. So if you were to do that and you get corrupted files, and then it says, okay, we fixed them all, and then you reboot it, then you have other and then you do the SFC scan now again, and that stands for, I don't know why I use different words, Steve, financial coach. I don't know why I use that, but it stands for system file checker. So also you could type that in the search box as well, either that or SFC, and it should both come up. Oh, no. You do command, sorry, telling you wrong. You type in command CMD for the command prompt, and then you get that on there. Right, okay. But anyway, as far as what it stands for, system file checker is what it is. And so that will test the Windows system files to make sure they're not corrupted, and it will fix them if it's at all possible for it to do that. And so once you've done that, if it says, okay, we found some corrupted files and fixed them, you're welcome, or whatever it says, reboot, and then see if you have any problems. And then if you have some problems, do it again. And if it says it found it again, you most likely have RAM or hard drive issues. That's corrupting your Windows system files. Another thing that can cause Windows system files or any files to be corrupted is if you have to hold in the power button. If your computer is unresponsive and you have to hold the power button in to make it shut off. When you say they're broken from the second you turn it on, sometimes causing that to restart it instantly, are you able to click on the Windows icon, the start button as it were, and then restart? Or are you using a restart button on the case or powering it off by the button? Because if you're doing that, every single time you're doing either of those, you're risking some file corruption. So, and it's possible if you had to do that, something else froze your computer at first that wasn't the corrupted files, and then you caused some by doing that, or you just got the corrupted files because of the hard drive or RAM being bad. And sometimes the CPU, very, very rarely will it be the CPU. I found maybe I've had like 3 or 4 in 25 years. I've had 3 or 4 bad processors. Most time it's something else. What time is it? 8:36. All right, let's try one more. PC crashes during loadings. Recently started experiencing crashes that occur during loading part of a game. Loading bar. Example, I am playing World of Warships, and as soon as round finishes and just before player scores are shown, my PC crashes. Monitor, keyboard, mouse turns off, but PC keeps on working. So I have to restart it to get it working again. And if you're just hitting the button on the case, since the keyboard and mouse, I mean, sometimes that's all you can do. But just be aware that when you do it like that, you're not shutting down Windows correctly, and it would be a problem that could be corrupting files. I've just started playing Portal 2 and PC crashed just before loading screen that is showing between levels. Also, my PC was often crashing at random times when I was playing Warzone a few months ago and made me stop playing it. I do have older RAM, 8 gigabytes, DDR4, shouldn't matter. But I've run mem tests that showed 0 errors. So did clean Windows reinstall and it's still the same. No overheating. None of the storage is fragmented. Alright. Does not say the hard drive. That would be a 520 watt power supply unit. An ASRock motherboard. There's your 8 gigabyte DDR4. I mean, it just being older doesn't matter, as long as it's compatible with the motherboard. So if you've never had the problem, you said recently started experience. So 580, 8 gigabyte Nitro, Ryzen 7 2700. I'm assuming that's plenty. I don't know the World of Warships and the Portal 2 system requirements. I know Portal 2 is quite old, unfortunately, and no Portal 3 yet, unfortunately. But so this should be fine for it, but monitor, keyboard, and mouse turns off. Yeah, unfortunately, could be anything. Could be the easiest thing to try to do is to try a different power supply if you have access to one, a friend's or family members or something like that. Just make sure it's enough power supply for you to run that RX 580 8GB Nitro. Let's see what power supply they recommend for this, just in case. And this is something, this is the other kind of thing that you can check out to see if it's the problem. Sapphire Tech. Where's the specs? Specification. There we go. Power supply. Some of these cards, actually the chip technology allowed them to use much less power. Power consumption less than 235 watts. So I'm assuming the 520 would be fine for it. Yeah, 500 watt or greater power supply is recommended. So that has 520, so that should be fine for that. So that's that guy's parts. Yeah, that wouldn't be the problem. So make sure it's a 500 watt if you were to check that. Let's see, what else could it be? I mean, it can be anything. You say there's no overheating. If all the fans are spinning, it should be fine. Test the hard drive. You don't mention the hard drive. If it's a older spinny type, again, I would be thinking, depending on how long you're going to keep this, you may want to change that up to a solid state drive, and that's $100, and that will make your next 2 or 3 years, however much you're going to use this for, much better. It's not gonna make this video card any better. It's not gonna give you more than 8 gigabytes of RAM. Not gonna make this processor any faster, but it will load up Windows. You'll go from like 30 seconds to a minute of loading Windows to you turning the button on, and like 5 seconds later you have the desktop ready to go and nothing else loaded. So that's the beauty of the SSD. And a lot of you young kids today, you may not know anything different than a SSD, and more power to you for that. So if you were using some of these old spinny hard drives, you would notice if a computer had it, because you could go make coffee and read the paper before your Windows booted up. So and my PC was crashing at random times when I was playing Warzone a few months ago and made me stop playing it. Now Warzone, you still probably okay with the 580. Let's see. Warzone. Gotta spell it correctly. That's the most important thing. Warzone. What did we say it was? An RX 580. How about that? Look at what that, did you see that? What showed up there when I typed in Warzone? Look, it says Warzone RX 580 right there. Maybe some people have had problems. Oh, no, that's somebody using, I guess, that's somebody using a 580 and doing a, you got a lot of these videos on YouTube there where they show you the stats on it as it's running the game. Kind of neat. So it would seem it's alright. KineFX is going to return a consistently high 200 plus frame rate. Powerful graphics card for Warzone 2100. Okay. So you can enjoy Call of Duty Warzone at 1440p resolution pretty comfortably. Alright, so All right. So yeah. So unless he's running it on Ultra, maybe that might be a problem. With those older games, it should not be an issue of hardware at all. So, but you definitely got something going on there. So, again, check the hard drive, test the hard drive, because there's no need to try to do any Windows system or file fixes at all if you got a bad hard drive. So yeah, alrighty, and it's 8:45. I will be sure to kill the first X number of minutes on this. Many shout outs to Faith. Otherwise, I would have done the whole thing and nobody would have been able to hear me. And that's me running live right there. I don't have the youtube.com/Coach Steve Money yet. I believe you have to have 100 subscribers first. So if you go to Coach Steve Money, you just type it right there, and then you get my channel. And then, as you can see, that's what's happening right now. I have the Ramsey Show After Show. I did number 87 of those today. So do one a day, each weekday, 6 p.m. Eastern Time, except tomorrow it's going to be at 7:30 because I have an issue. I have Madden Early Access, so I've been doing some videos about that. I'm running a franchise for the Washington football team, which is my favorite team. And I looked into the scouting college players, which is, I believe, going to change in September as they revamp it. I say how to get the early access, which I believe was today the 17th. I believe if you pre-ordered it, you get it today automatically, but before it was EA Play and EA Pro. EA Play, $5 a month, or I think it's $30 a year. Gave you a free 10-hour early access, 8 days early. EA Play Pro, $100 a year membership, and you get unlimited access to almost all of the EA/Origin games. And you also get the best versions of it. So got the Dynasty edition and that comes with of Madden, and those best versions of it often come with perks and stuff. The Dynasty edition came with extra staff points, which I also go into the new coaching staff changes. I go into that on this one, and that has you building up the talent tree of your coaches like it's an MMORPG game, which is fun. Very awesome. Let's see here. Early access, second play. What did I do on that one? Team franchise. Okay, so I just went through like what going through a franchise is like, and the stuff I do for that. Okay, so and those are my most recent ones. So the Dave Ramsey Show After Show. That's one of the playlists, video gaming playlist. As you can see, all Madden all the time recently, but I did 13. Whoops, clicked on the wrong thing. It took us 13 streams, but we eventually got the full playthrough of It Takes Two. Me and my daughter Bella. Yeah. No, my daughter Bella and I played. Getting loopy here. Time to go to sleep. Got to get up at 4 a.m. We played It Takes Two, which is a wonderful co-op game. As you can see, split screen right there. Fun animation. It has parts of it that reminded me of Tomb Raider and several other games. There's puzzle solving, etc., etc. Let's see, miscellaneous. If the mod for the Ramsey Show hasn't posted the show by 10 a.m. Eastern Time, which it normally is. I put up a pre-show chat, and that's on there, and any other miscellaneous things will be in that. On the computer, the previous tech support with Coach Steve Money, which I did a month ago, got 19 views. It's not bad for just something that starts out, but touch screen and some stuff I did at work there, broken power button, as you can see right there in the upper right on my fingers there, which it looks like I just washed my hands or something, because I hope they're not like that all the time. You can get some lotion in there or something, dog. But yeah, that was something I did there, and that button cannot be ordered. So that was a sad time. That's bad design on that, because the way that fits in there, that's way too much stress on the button, and it breaks like that. And we've had several that have done that. Okay, and it's just testing me. I use Streamlabs to broadcast things, and just like today, I forgot to select the correct mic. It automatically selects default mic, and the USB one desk mic that I'm using is not the default mic. I guess I could change that, but it often gets unplugged and replugged, and so I don't know that would be the thing either. I have a music channel, which I recorded these guys in 1993. Throwcat, they're my favorite band. And a financial one, and I just started yesterday putting the Ramsey show, after show in the financial playlist as well, but I did some other things too. I showed you what to do when you get a pre-approved credit card application. Alrighty, so 71 subscribers. Shooting up there today. I believe that that could be trolls, because that's a lot in one day. And you know, if not, I appreciate it. If it's trolls, they're eventually gonna come into my stream and cause problems, or they will just unsubscribe all of a sudden all at the same time and make me sad. So it's possible. Oh well. But I'll just enjoy it while it is. Yeah, so like if it gets to 100 and I can get maybe I can keep the youtube.com/Coach Steve Money. Maybe I can keep that once I hit 100, even if it goes down below 100 again. I don't know what their rules are on that. But that's going to be it for today, and I appreciate you watching and being interested. If you have any computer questions, you can shoot them my way, CoachSteveMoney@gmail.com. Would like to hear from you if you have any pointers on any suggestions or anything. I don't mind constructive criticism. That's no problem at all. Thanks, guys, and I will once again reminder: the next stream will be the Dave Ramsey Show after show. It's not called the Dave anymore, but I still put that in because a lot of people still know it by that, because it's been that for 30 years or something, and it just recently changed it to the Ramsey Show. So Ramsey Show after show will be tomorrow at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Other than tomorrow, it's always at 6 p.m. Eastern Time, right after the Ramsey Show video ends on YouTube. So thank you very much, and have a good night. I just have to wait. Otherwise, it'll cut me off mid-sentence.